Hello there people, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I want to talk about relationships, and in particular relationships with Thai women. A lot of guys that come here to settle down and retire here in Pattaya are probably already in a relationship or looking at establishing a relationship with a Thai woman to settle down and spend the rest of their life with. I don't believe there are many people that would come here to retire and settle down that just want to spend the rest of their lives alone. So I think this should be quite a popular video, and I'm going to give a fair bit of advice here. So please keep watching. You know, looking for somewhere nice and warm and comfortable to settle down is one of the aspects or the areas that attract people to come here to Thailand. It's the economy here. It costs you just a fraction of what it's likely to cost you to live in your home country. It's reported that Thailand is number 11 in the countries that are most popular amongst expats wanting to settle down, but it's also reported that Thailand is becoming more and more popular all the time. And this is happening because it's also becoming very popular with Chinese coming here to settle down. And we see it here in Pattaya. We see a lot of new Chinese coming in, and also in Phuket it's reported that the Chinese are buying up a lot of property down there. So it's obviously beneficial for the Chinese to come here, and very popular for them also. You know, if you watch a lot of YouTube channels, you will see that many people talk about the various dangers of retiring here and getting into relationships in Thailand. And I want to dispel a couple of the myths that are actually going around about the dangers of living here and settling with a Thai lady. You know, I've been in Thailand, or I've been associated with Thailand for the last 30 years. I speak Thai and I have a Thai wife, so I think I'm fairly well qualified to give advice on the particular aspect. But one of the myths that really do annoy me is they don't get mixed up with bar girls. Bar girls seem to be bandied around as the most dangerous people in Thailand, and I can assure you that that myth is really untrue. In my years, I've had a lot of experience of meeting bar girls and getting to know a lot of them as friends. And I know a lot of very good people that work in bars, and they're no danger to anybody, and they would make superior companions to many guys if they find the right guy as well. So bar girls, I don't believe, are as big a problem as a lot of people make them out to be. In fact, you know, when you come here, if you come here, and I think most people that retire here, as I've said before, have some idea about what my city, Pattaya here. They know a bit about Pattaya already, and they may be already in a relationship, or they might be looking to start a relationship. But for many people who come here for the first time, the first real contact they have with any Thai women are in a bar. And, you know, quite often relationships are started right from within an hour or two of landing here in Pattaya and going into the first bar and meeting one of the first ladies they meet here. And some very good relationships and long-lasting relationships have actually started that way. So keep an open mind. Yes, there are dangers, and there are girls that you need to be careful you don't mix with, but there's a lot that are absolutely superb, and we'll come across with that as we go through this video. The other myth, I'm not so sure it's a myth, but it's a piece of advice that is often handed out to guys coming here, and meeting up with ladies here. And that's the 3-day rule, you know. If you meet them and you're getting on well, okay. If you don't want to get into relationships, etc., don't go out with them for more than 3 days. That's the very popular 3-day rule. After 3 days, change your companion. And that way, you're less likely to get emotionally tied up and involved with the lady in concern. Well, the reason I say I believe that to be a myth, because if you meet the right lady and you're getting on well and everything, all the magic happens quite quickly, you know, that emotional involvement can start instantly, within 3 hours, never mind 3 days. The attraction and the involvement and the mutual enjoyment talking to each other can develop very, very quickly. So 3 days doesn't really play a part of it then. As I say, it can be instantaneous. You make up your mind, and it depends on what you're really, really in Pattaya to do. There are many different types of bar girls, and there is some caution I would like to maybe highlight about some of the ones that I think could be problematic. We've got the bar girls that work in go-go bars. Now, these are generally younger girls, nice shape, nice body, and they are well used to seeing guys coming in and sitting, ogling them at close range. And these girls harden up very, very quickly. And they're, as I say, they're generally quite young. And if you get involved with these girls, then it can be an experience, but it can be very, very expensive as well. And these are girls that are not really at that time looking to settle down. Let's move on to the so-called gentlemen's clubs. It's a good name, because what are gentlemen's clubs? Gentlemen's clubs are actually brothels with doors. So the people that use the gentlemen's clubs, they don't want to be seen, they don't want people to see them frequenting these. So they go in, and they're often very nice inside, and they've got some very pretty ladies, etc., working in there. But it's all sex orientated. It's not the bar, and the whole mode of operation is to provide services for guys that are looking for short times or quick relations, and do it and pay for the drinks and get out and go on their way and meet up with friends or do whatever they do afterwards. So these are also girls that, they're pretty hardened up with guys, and once again, in general, I think they're not looking for long-term relationships, but they might be. So once again, it's open-minded, but I think you need to be a little bit more careful in that sort of circumstance as well. The other area that I'd like to warn you to use extreme caution is areas such as Soi 6, the infamous Soi 6, which is a whole row of bars that goes right down from Second Road all the way down to the beach, and it's absolutely teeming with girls that have come from all over Thailand. They've been brought there to work in these bars and to provide services for guys on a very casual basis that are walking up and down the street, trying to attract them into the bars, buy them drinks. And of course, above these bars, there's facilities like rooms, etc., that can be rented for short times, where you can pay the girl and go upstairs and do what you wish, and then come out and go on again. A lot of these girls, you will see yourself when you walk down there, look very, very young. And a lot of them are very, very young. And although they are quite strict on trying to control the ages of girls working in these places, be careful, because there's been instances down there where underage girls have been working, and knowingly, from the managers of the bars, and they've been caught out. There was a case not so long ago about a German guy caught up with a young teenager, and it developed very badly. The bar was closed, and they found other girls working underage. Be careful down there. As I say, there's a lot of young girls down there. They're brought down. A lot of them are very basically educated. They're not so clever girls. They look good. They might have tremendous bodies on them and look absolutely super, but they're down there to do the business. And I don't think it would be a good area to be searching around to find your ideal partner for the future. So going back to the straightforward, ordinary beer bars that do have a few girls working there, in general, these girls tend to be a little bit more experienced in life, and I think, as I say, I already know. I used to know anyway, some of the girls that worked around these bars, and they were very, very nice people actually, and would make excellent partners for the right guy. You know, indeed, some of these girls are very, very polished, and they know how to approach a guy. They know how to make him feel happy when he comes in and sits down and have his beer. They know how to engage him in conversation, and they make you feel good right away. And they're open to suggestions. A lot of them are open to suggestions if you wanted to pay the minimal bar fine, because the bar fines in these places are not as high as the other go-go bars and things like that. And they're willing to, a lot of them are quite willing to let you pay their bar fine, and they'll come back to your hotel with you for a little while or for overnight, depending on what you want, and it's a purely financial transaction. But some of these girls can get into your heart very, very quickly. The good ones, I'm talking about the good ones, and you will meet them here, the ones that make you feel good right away when you sit at the bar. They'll talk to you and make you feel good. They're the ones, when you think about it, they're not only going to be attractive to you, they're going to be attractive to many, many guys that visit. The Germans, the French, the UKs, the Americans, Australians, New Zealand, whatever. They're quite likely to have a group of guys that may even be supporting them and sending them funds, etc., to help support them. And a lot of these guys might be looking at the future lives with these girls. So once again, that can be a bit of a dangerous area. And I've seen a lot of guys getting emotionally involved with these girls, and she's not really been 100% dedicated to him. She's had her eyes on another guy from another country or from whatever, and that's where she wants to go. And a lot of the guys that are associated with her end up with broken hearts and wondering where they went wrong and why they went wrong, and how they can avoid it in the future. And it hurts a lot of people. I'd like to relate a quick story, one that I personally witnessed about a guy that really did get screwed up quite quickly on his first visit to Thailand. And it was some years ago now, but it's still very prevalent, and it's a good example of how it can go wrong. And this was a guy that came from UK, from England. And on his first visit, actually, and on his first afternoon here, he came with a friend, and he had never been to Pattaya before. And he had recently retired and had a payout, etc., from his work. So he was financially stable, and he was looking to retire and thinking about where he might retire. He hadn't decided about Thailand, but he decided very quickly on Thailand, and this is why. The very first afternoon he was here with his friend, they dropped their cases at their hotel, had a quick shower, and then they went out on the town. So they had a couple of beers in ordinary beer bars, had a little chat with some of the girls, and then they ended up going to a go-go bar. Now, the go-go bar they went to was a typical go-go bar. In the center of the bar, they had this long long stage with 12 dancing poles on the stage, and the girls would get up on the stage from one end, and then they would start dancing to the music. And every time the music changed, they'd move down a couple of poles. And when the bar was full, then, and the music kept going and changing, the two down at the far end would get off, everybody moved down 2 places, and then 2 new girls would get on and dance down. And surrounding this stage was lots of little bar stools, etc., where guys could really sit up close and really get to appreciate the beauties, the absolute stunners that were dancing in front of them. Well, the guy I'm talking about was totally shocked. He'd never seen anything like this before. And as he sat there sipping at his beer, watching these girls go down the stage, oh, he was mesmerized, totally mesmerized. And one girl in particular, she kept smiling at him and winking and trying to keep his attention. When she got down to the far end of the, and he reciprocated, he really thought she was a beautiful girl. She was quite young, but she was very, very beautiful. And when she got down to the far end of the stage where she got off, she immediately came round and came up and asked him his name, etc., and initiated a conversation with him. So he was really over the moon. She was a stunner. She was gorgeous. So he bought her a lady drink, which in the go-go bars it is fairly expensive. But he bought her a lady drink, and maybe he bought another one, and she went up to dance again. And once again, the smiles as she went. And this guy was falling for her as he sat there on his first afternoon in Thailand, in Pattaya. And she went down, and then she came back again. He bought her another drink. And she suggested to him, she said, look, she said, because he had no idea the routine then. And she said, look, if you'd like me to come back to your hotel with you, then you can pay my bar fine here, and then we can go back to your hotel and spend a little bit of time together, and of course at a fee. And he thought this was a tremendous idea, and he got his money out, paid her bar fine. She went and got changed, and they went away for a short while together, and he was totally hooked on this girl. And this was to be a big, big problem for him, actually. So as the next few days progressed, he would find himself down at this go-go bar every day. And he would go through the same thing every day, buying her a few drinks and then paying her bar fine and taking her back to the hotel, etc. And his feelings for her were getting deeper, much deeper, and it was getting time for him getting close to going back after his holiday, and this was starting to give him problems already, because he didn't want this girl to lose this girl. He wanted to keep this girl, so he came to an arrangement where she finished working in the bar, and he gave her, I think at that time, and I'm going back several years ago now, I know he gave her 50,000 baht a month to stop her working in the bar. And while he was away, and he went back to the UK and done what he needed to do. And within 2 or 3 weeks, he was back in Pattaya again, back with this girl. He got himself a condominium, and she moved in with him, etc. And life was perfect. This was what he wanted to do. This was to be his retirement. He was going to be happy, settled down with this girl. This girl was 18 years old. She was telling people she was 20, but she was actually 18 years old at that time. And he was 60, just gone 60. So a big, big age gap, which in many, many cases is a real no-no, because it's very, very difficult for both parties. But we'll come back to that in a minute. So he came back, and she moved in with him, and he was still giving her the 50,000 baht a month, because that's what she lost by, she was telling him that's what she lost by giving up her job. And he wanted to try and make her more domestic and more part of his life. So he started spoiling her a lot, actually, buying her presents and taking her out, buying her clothes, etc. Then he bought her a motorbike and started paying for driving lessons, which ended up eventually that she passed her test and he bought her a car. He was buying her clothes, taking her out every night for nice meals, etc. And he was spending a phenomenal amount of money on this girl. And she was taking advantage of it with getting her gold necklaces and other jewelry and everything she wanted. He would bend over backwards to try and keep her right. But he realized that she needed something in her life to keep her more engaged and busy. So he decided he was going to try and start a business with her. And what he done was he went out and he bought about, I don't know, I think it was about a dozen motorbikes, and they started up a motorbike rental company together. And then he added a couple of cars to it, I think, and things like that. And that seemed to be going well. She was doing okay at that. And then he ended up going away for a weekend with a couple of his chums. I think it was a golfing trip, actually, from memory. But so he went away on a golfing trip, and while he was away, he tried to contact her, but she wasn't picking up her phone, and he started panicking because he was still besotted with this lady. Cut a long story short, he found out that she had met up with another guy while he was away, and it kind of it hurt him a lot. And he was actually prepared to overlook it, forgive it, etc. He sat down and talked to her. He said, look, it doesn't matter. We'll just put it down to one of these things. Let's carry on. But she also was fed up with the life that she had. This was not what she had imagined. And she moved off, and she left him, and she moved in with a Thai guy, actually, a Thai man. She had had some relationship with for quite some time, apparently. That totally destroyed this guy, and it almost brought him to financial ruin as well, because when she left, and maybe this was another reason that she moved on, he had rapidly run out of money, and he was struggling to, the big expensive condo they were staying in, he was talking about moving down and finding a cheaper condo, etc. And for 3 years after that, he struggled with money, and then eventually I think he ended up moving back to the UK. But I've also got to tell you that during this immediate aftermath of the split up, he went into severe depression, absolutely severe depression, and it was a problem for him. Fortunately, he had enough friends that gathered around him and helped him get through it, and eventually, actually, I'm telling you wrong here, eventually he met another lady, and they got hitched up together, and I think he took her back to the UK to live with him from memory. I'm not sure on that, but I know he got another lady, an older lady, but one that was a genuine lady that wanted the same from life as he wanted, and they got on very, very well. Perfect. So there's a kind of happy ending to a sad story there. But the reason I'm telling you that story is that that's not a lone incident. That is a very, very common happening here in Pattaya, where guys, they just lose total control of their minds and go crazy. There's no other expression for it. They go crazy, and they lose total self-control. Understandably so in many cases. They just don't know how to handle it, and something to think about. Now, just to short discussion on something that I've already raised, and that's the age gap. You know, a lot of guys that come here in their late 50s, early 60s, they see these young beauties, these young beautiful girls, stunning girls, stunning bodies, lovely smiles, beautiful eyes, Nothing that is not perfect about them, and it's a big attraction. But they're maybe 18, 20 years old, as was the case of the story that I told you. And these guys, they want to get involved. Well, the story amplifies the problems that you might face. You think about it. Can you remember back when you were 20 years old, say, and if you had the opportunity of tying up with maybe a 60-year-old woman, would you want to do that? Would you want to be walking around the streets hand in hand with a 60-year-old woman smooching away and all your friends seeing you? I don't think so. I don't think it is. So be realistic about your ambitions when you come here, and about your partners, you know. Something that I've seen that's very, very successful, and I'd encourage you to think about this, is even if you're in your late 50s, early 60s, think about girls that are in their mid-30s to mid-40s. Now, these girls can still be stunningly beautiful, but what they have is life experience. And that changes them all. It changes everybody. The experience that we get as we go through life. These girls are probably have probably already been involved in relationships. They may have had husbands. All sorts of things might have happened. They've probably got families. They've got children, and they're working here in Pattaya to support the children and their family. Probably, in most cases, the guys disappeared off with someone else, or something's happened to them, and these are the ladies that make fantastic partners. They really are. The mid-30s to the mid-40s, you're still getting a very, very good-looking lady, but as I say, with life experience. And that's the sort. If it was me, and I was in that instance, and I am not in that instance, I'm a very lucky man with what I've got. But if it was me, and I was looking for a long-term partner, that's the area that I would be investigating. And there's a lot of them. There's a lot of these girls working in the bars that fall exactly into that bracket and would make good companions. So once again, be realistic. Think about what you want to get from your partner. You know, the stunning bodies and the good sex, etc., wears off very, very quickly, and you come down to the realistic parts of a relationship where you want to get along together, where you want to know more about each other, and you want to have a life together. And that's the important thing if you're planning on settling down and retiring here, getting the right partner with you so you're happy. Everybody's happy, and you enjoy your life here in Pattaya. So, just once again to summarize, be realistic what you want to achieve. Take your time, don't rush into things. If you meet someone, get to know them, get to know as much as you can about them, meet their families, find out what they like and what they don't like, etc. And work on it, and then you'll be able to decide, is this the lady for you or not? As I say, I feel confident about giving you this advice because I've been through that very same mill many years ago, and I learned some very important lessons from that relationship. Thanks for watching, and see you in my next video. Bye for now.